Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Lloyd speaking, and let me jump to my charts. So, actually, I managed for a long time, actually for quite some time. I've been trying to trade with volume. I think I did mention last week. Uh, I got quite a few volume indicators, but none that really caught my eye. Until this week, I actually found something that might be useful. Yeah, so I did a bit of testing, and it seems actually viable. Yeah. Again, I have not done a comprehensive back test on this particular indicator, but it just seems viable to me when I do a simple test. Yeah. So it's actually not quite possible for me to do a comprehensive back test on every indicator. Yeah. So I do have different levels of testing for my own criteria. Yeah. So as always, the simple one is the easiest to start off with, just to see whether it kind of works for the past 20 trades. So one more thing I need to mention is that today's session will be short. I'm actually not feeling well. Yeah. So probably might be 15-20 minutes. That's about it. Yeah. So without holding you back, I think I'll have to trouble Mike to actually paste the link for the indicator onto the chat box. And as always, the link will be up for a week, and then I'll take it down by the end. So this particular indicator that I'm talking today is actually it's actually a volume-based indicator. Yeah, what differs it from other indicators is that it has an additional smoothing, which is filtered by a simple moving average. Yeah. So I'm going to keep the settings as default. The smoothing period, I'm going to keep it as 14. I'm not going to change it. And then, as always, it comes with all those alerts, which I think is really useful for our mobile phones. Yeah. So once you send alerts in, hop on over to a chart and see whether that's a viable trade. Yeah, that's about it. So it's actually smooth by 14 SMA. What it means is that unlike a traditional volume, let's have a look at it. That's what. So this is actually the traditional volume that we have on our chart. Even quite a few that I have, it actually all displays in this manner. Yeah. So it gives no, I mean, it does have meaning on the trade, but at the same time, that means you have to actually filter it on your own when to enter, be it with trend or against trend. Yeah. So that's a part I actually don't find particularly useful. Rising volume and falling volume for a particular bar in the middle of nowhere, I don't really find that useful for me to trade. So what I have for this particular indicator is that since it's already smooth by 14 SMA, that means one thing is that we are able to trade with simply trend. What we need is simply another trend filter. That's about it. So the trend filter I've chosen today is actually the 2 moving average. Moving average are rather popular tools to use for trend trading. Yeah, it does not lag too much, and on top of that, you are able to choose the periods of the moving average, and it's quite simple on screen when you select 2 moving average together. As long as the faster moving average is below the slower moving average, we can easily say it's a downtrend, and the opposite is also true. So my faster moving average for today is actually 20 EMA. Yeah, so that's the white line. My slower moving average today, I've just used the 30 EMA. Yeah, so these two are just random value I pluck out of my head. And as always, there's ways that there are probably quite a few different ways of using moving average to determine the trends. One of the easiest is to wait for the fast to cross over the slow. That's about it. And the second thing, as an additional filter, is that even you can see that sometimes when price consolidates, there are multiple crossover. That's not a very healthy thing for trend traders. So another filter that we can have is that as we need to have a gap in between the moving average before we can determine that that's the trend. Yeah, so that's about it for using this particular indicator. So I have actually a price action scanner with me this week. It's all along I have it. Right. So let's have a look at a weekly chart. So the way I go about deciding whether this indicator is useful to use, and I think it might be of some use to you, is that look, price action is definitely the darling of the, I would say, for the past 10 years for traders. Yeah, it's actually one of the most visually attractive indication of how price move. Yeah, and that's why, and to a certain extent, it also incorporates the psychology of the market. So that's why price action are pretty, I would say, widespread nowadays. So my hypothesis for going about is quite simply that if I have a test bar, some of you may know it as a pin bar or even kangaroo tail on a weekly chart, I'm simply going to drill down 2 time frames. So in this case, it will be H4. So if it's a high test bar, then I'm going to look for shorts. If it's low test bar, which is opposite, something like this, then I'm going to look for long. The same thing for engulfing bars. Bearish engulfing, I'm going to look for shorts. Bullish engulfing, I'm going to look for long on the following week on the H4 time frame. So you can see on my scanner, about 5 weeks back, Aussie Cat, we have a bullish engulfing bar. That means on the following week, I will be on the lookout for a trend trading move. In this case, it will be determined by the volume indicator below. And on top of that, to confirm that there is a trend, I need my faster EMA above my slower EMA. That's about it. So Aussie Cat on the weekly time frame, we have an engulfing bar. I'll drill down to H4. So let's see what we have over there. So you can see that my faster EMA is above my slower EMA. All good. I need a retracement. So retracement comes in the form of my volume. So a selling volume indicates that a retracement is going on. So when do I determine that the retracement is at the end? When the buying volume is actually up, which is on this part. That will determine that is the end of the retracement and I can possibly enter. So the next question is, how do I actually put my stop loss? As always, I'll recommend you to put your stop loss always at the last swing low or swing high. Yeah. So in this case, it'll be, my stop loss will be around here. And then you can see that price actually hits 1R and 2R. So let's not be, I will just be simplified about this. I will always stick with, most of the time I will stick with a 2R trade setup. In this case, it takes about 2.5 clicks for a trade to play out. So this is actually a winning trade for me. If you look at a weekly time frame, Cat Swiss, I have a high test bar. So on the following week, I'm looking for shorts. I don't think I have any viable setup at that, because while I'm looking for short, my faster EMA is above my slower EMA. So I can't actually place any viable trades. Yeah. So again, this will be a trend trading method. So I have to let this go. Euro Cat, I have a low test bar. So on the following week, I'm looking for long. So let's go to H4. You can see that again, my white is below my red. Finally, I think somewhere on Thursday, white is above red, and I can look for the first retracement, which it did not happen within the week. So again, I have to let this go. Euro USD, I have an engulfing bar. So you can see that this green bar engulfed the previous bearish bar. So that means on the following week, I'll be looking for long. So to look for long, my white needs to be above red. It's consistently above the red, which is a good thing. And then the selling pressure, you can see that the sellers are in control. And finally, over here, the buyers came back. Right? So it's a blue bar. So that denotes the end of the retracement. Again, entry above, stop loss at the last swing. It did eventually hit my 2R, which is also 3 weeks later. Last example from the weekly time frame. I'm at Euro USD, so low test bar for pound cat. Let's have a look at that. So I have a low test bar over here. So that means on a H4, I'm looking for long. Same criteria. White needs to be above the red simply because I need my faster EMA to be above this lower EMA. So you can see over here, seller's pressure. Then finally, the buyers took over. But at this point of time, white is below red, so I don't think I can enter. There might be some chance down a week. Again, sellers took control. So this may be a retracement. And then finally, you can see that on the blue bar, on the blue buying pressure, it came back. The buyers came back. So again, entry above, stop loss below. So eventually, I still get to my 2R. That's 1.5 weeks later. So this is actually a very, very simple way of using this volume-based indicator. Just need to combine it with trends. On top of that, you may or may not have a filter. Just that in this case, I choose to use a scanner with a price action indications. Yeah, because the reason why I prefer to use a price action scanner is because they are objective. Yeah. On the other hand, I think about 40% of the time, a scanner will actually miss out certain price action, which is clear cut to us that it is the kind of price action that we want to trade. But because it fails the parameter of the scanner, it won't be picked up. On the daily time frame, this can be done. I would say it'll be the same thing. So let's look at Aussie Kiwi. There we have it. On the daily time frame, we have a bearish engulfing bar. That means on the following day, we are looking for short opportunity. So 2 time frame down will be H1. So let's see what happens. Let's see. The white is beneath the red. We are looking for short opportunity. Blue means a buying pressure. So we want it to change to red. Okay, we need a blue first, simply because the blue indicates that there's a retracement going on. Buyers are coming back in, and the red means that sellers finally took over for the trend. So we can put in a trade. Again, this will be the last recent swing high. Will be triggered 2 bars later, and we'll still get our 2R. Also, it's a rather simplistic way to trade, which may be bearing fruits. Cat yen, high test bar. So you can see that this is a high test bar. We are looking for a shorting opportunity for the next day. H1, when I go and have a look, the whole of next day, by the way, the dotted line on my screen is for the time. That means it's for the 1 whole day. So for the next day, the rest of the next day, white is above red. So I don't need to care what the volume indicator is saying. Yeah. After looking at the price action on daytime frame, I need the trend to be prevailing in the direction that I'm trading. In this case, short. So that's why I need the white beneath the red. But if it's above red, then I can ignore the final step, which is looking at the volume. Let's forget about that. Swiss yen, high test bar. So on H1, which is on this green bar, you can see there won't be any trade setup. So you can see that whichever is not clear cut at the early part of the day, which one is above, which one is below. So if it is not clear, ignore it. So I'm looking for short. Eventually, actually the buyers took over. That's why you can see that the white is above the red. So I will be ignoring this. So let's look at a winning trade on the daily time frame. Doesn't have to look at it. Founder. Oh, we have an S&P here. So you pick up S&P 500 low test bar. Don't care about the SR level. So if it's a low test bar, I'm looking for long. Again, back to H1. I'm not sure whether this worked out. So you can see white is above red. There's space in between. I'm looking for a retracement. Unfortunately, the retracement didn't come for the rest of the day. It did eventually happen the very next day. Yeah, but in this case, I'm only interested for the current day. Oops. Aussie Swiss. This might look like it will turn out to be a winner. So Aussie Swiss at high test bar. There you can see it. On the very next day, let's see what happens on H1. So over here, I can ignore. There's no clear cut that there's white is above red or red is above white. Finally, midday came. Clearly, white is beneath the red. That's good. That fulfills my second criteria. Buyers came back, buyers pressure. So that means that denotes a retracement. 1 bar later, the sellers took over. So you can place a trade. Will be triggered, and in fact, you'll get stop loss. There's a bull. Life is as it is. Cat Swiss, more Swissian. This might be interesting. I don't know whether you'll turn out to be a winner. Let's have a look. So Swissian, low test bar over here. The very next day, we are looking for long on H1. Let's have a look. You can see we are looking for long. Sellers came in. That means a retracement, and then buyers came back, which denotes the end of the retracement. Very small bar, I would say. Entry above the candle, stop loss below the last swing, and we'll get our 2R, in fact 3R. Yeah. But I'll still keep it at 2R at the very same day, which is a few hours later. So personally, I find this volume indicator pretty interesting. Yeah, it has a trend filter on its own, and on top of that, if we slap our own trend filter on it, it does seem to give us pretty good entries just based on buying and selling volume. Yeah. So guys, give this indicator a look. Probably run some backtests of your own behind. You can even use it on your current strategy and see whether it helps. Okay, let me see if any questions. All right, so I have no question going on. So with that, I'll end the session early today. Apologize everyone. I'm not feeling well, so I won't be running the full session. I'll be back next week. Right, download the indicator, give it a try. Right, goodbye.
Hi, Lloyd. Hi, we actually have question from Dennis.
Dennis, hope my natural gas treat is still alive. that's not actually a question, but hey Dennis, my natural gas trade is from stock side, so I guess it's still alive. At least I didn't get any alerts that I've been stopped up yet. Yeah. But since you say so, I'll be checking it tomorrow, see what it is in what kind of condition. All right, so thank you everyone, and I'll see you next week.